For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
So I've been avoiding coffee because I'm trying to be healthy, and I've decided that I've reached a weight where I can start not avoiding things. And so, hello there, coffee with chocolate in it.
Have you noticed? I think Dunkin' Donuts is the only store that does not have a Star Wars themed offering. Where's my TIE Fighter donut, Craig?
That's true.
Where's my X-Wing latte? I feel like there's a missed opportunity here.
I was getting some cold medicine last night for Reese, and I saw Elle magazine. Elle magazine, a fashion magazine, has a Star Wars issue.
Right.
And I thought, well, there's the end of the world right there. You've got car commercials. You've got fashion magazine.
I was in the store. There was a Darth
You're absolutely
Vader.
right. The Dunkin' Donuts is missing the boat.
There was a Darth Vader Christmas stocking. I mean, it was like his suit. It was like, it is. And you know what's funny? Here's the funny thing. Let's just grab a coffee and talk about this.
Okay. Well done.
Here's the funny thing. You'd think at some point I would experience Star Wars overload, and I would somehow rebel, pardon the pun, against it and be like, you guys are milking my movie, stop doing that. Yeah. But instead, I'm just like doing the victory dance in the end zone. I'm like, yes, right. Russ, we are mainstream, suck it.
I can only imagine the shock and the horror and the emptiness if this movie isn't awesome. Well, because it is leached into every aspect, and it's gone so. I mean, we can talk about the broken records. We can talk about 1,000 theaters sold out in 24 hours of pre-sale. I mean, do you know? I was just reading an article last night that they're preparing for the premiere, which is tomorrow when we're recording. They have shut down 4 blocks of Hollywood Boulevard, because there's a 4-block long tent being set up just for the big red carpet event before it, which is 4 times the amount of space that gets shut down for the Oscars.
Yeah,
it's unprecedented. It feels like every aspect of society, almost except for Karen, is really coming together behind it.
Except for Karen.
And it feels like it's really a historical moment is occurring, and I'm nervous now because I don't know that any movie ever has had this much hype. And the movies that we're looking.
What about so let me, because I'm a little confused. I feel like it happened this way at The Phantom Menace.
Did it though?
Except we didn't have the internet the way we have it today.
Right.
So I feel
which is feeding it, but I don't think that's
all
just
there in costume. We were all because we didn't know the prequels weren't going to be stone cold awesome. We thought the prequels were going to be just as good.
Well, isn't that the fear that's not far from everybody's mind?
See, here's the thing. I think what's happened is the prequels pushed us down to the point where we're like, now Star Wars with the prequels is just an average sort of. It's like James Bond. Some are amazing, some aren't. Right?
Yeah.
But at one time it was this amazing 3-movie story arc that was just fantastic. And I think what the previews for the new Force Awakens have shown us is that we have some confidence that we're going to be back to what we had before. And that's I think what people are I think that's part of the hype. Because if George Lucas was doing this next set, I don't think the hype would be as strong. I really don't.
Well, no, I think losing Lucas completely makes this even possible, because I don't think with the prequels that the hype that's happening right now has gone far beyond the fan base.
Right.
But you need the fan base as sort of the core crystal to create this whole effect.
Right.
And by connecting or by being connected to George Lucas and thus the prequels, I don't think you would really be able to get the fan base behind you 100%.
Yeah, I think the prequels. I think for some reason, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I think the falling flat of the prequels are somehow enabling this to rise higher.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think it's it's not a super happy time historically.
Right.
I think people are looking for something to kind of elevate beyond what's going on, and a sort of low grade fear that that sort of permeates at least American society right now. And at the same time, I mean, Star Wars has then been co-opted by the news and all that sort of. I mean, one of the negative things that I feel is going on right now, and I get really angry when I hear any news story about it or dealing with it in the way it's being dealt, is the racial aspect of, like, there's a black stormtrooper.
So what?
And exactly, that's my point. And you've got a group of Star Wars fans who are like, you can't do that. And the reason they're saying that is because stormtroopers were at one point based on clone troopers, and the clone troopers were based on that one actor who I believe is Hispanic.
Right.
And so it's not a racial, like, these people are not, they're not like, putting on their white hoods and going around anywhere I've seen. And it feels very manufactured, like Star Wars fans are racist because they don't like the fact that there's and it's not that. It's these poor little nerds in the basement that are like, no, you don't understand. They're all based on one genetic imprint, right. and they're not, obviously, at this point, and stormtroopers are not clone troopers, but that hasn't really been dealt with, right. In the fluff. And so you've got these poor little, fluff guys that are like, clinging to their fluff, and instead they're getting wrapped into this larger race debate that's going on. And it's just, it really upsets me when that I was listening to an interview with J.J. Abrams, actually. Again, longtime listeners will know that Howard Stern, I think, I don't like a lot of the things that he does, but he does amazing interviews, and he has been for years now, doing these long-form, hour-long interviews with some amazing people, and he loves sci-fi, fantasy, and comic books. So he's done almost every major figure in sci-fi, fantasy, and comic books as far as movies go. And so he did a huge interview with J.J. Abrams, which was a phenomenal interview, a wide-ranging interview that went all over the place. And J.J. Abrams was talking about all kinds of different things. And Howard Stern is not afraid to bring up, like, some people hate you for Star Trek and blah, blah, blah. And so a lot of that comes up. And the one thing that came up that really upset me was, how come people are racist about this black stormtrooper? And J.J. Abrams didn't himself introduce this whole, it's a clone thing, so I don't think it's racist. He was like, I don't know, they're racist, I don't know. And I was like, what, seriously? And then they brought in a fanboy, and the fanboy was like, well, I don't know, if you feel that way, it's because you're racist, but I think most people, JJ knows. And he wanted JJ to say it. He's like, JJ knows, I think JJ knows. And then JJ Abrams was like, well, you mean the clone thing? Right. And like it's as an afterthought. So that's just one aspect of the fact. That
there is a whole movie called Clone Wars, so it's kind of not subtle.
Exactly. So it's been there, and it's been sort of like as a sort of like beneath the surface for months, of course. And as things come closer and closer, and I know I have tickets for Friday. I decided not to go Thursday night, and I've got tickets that are a little more casual at one of the theaters that does assigned seating.
Me
so
too.
I know I've
Same
got
thing. It's
great seats.
I'm not going insane on this. So
no, but at the same time, Russ, how exciting is it that now they have assigned seating in theaters, so you don't have to get there hours early?
Right. I'm just imagining. I remember I went to for Phantom Menace. I went to the midnight showing, and I stood in line for 2 hours, even though I already had a ticket, to make sure I got an okay seat that I could sit next to my wife and other people who I was going with. So, and we were in line, and it was just as much craziness. There were people in costumes. It was awesome. It was opening night. It was fantastic, and so I expect that here. But what I've had a problem with now is I really don't want any more spoilers.
Right. I don't want any more.
So
I have stopped watching.
I've only watched the main sort of trailer that came out. It feels like 6 months ago now. Sort of the main one, the Chewie I'm Home trailer. Right. I've seen that one, and then I've played enough Star Wars Battlefront to have played the one scenario which takes place.
Jakku.
Yeah, Jakku with the downed Star Destroyer and all the thing that's in the first trailer. That's there too. There's no plot in Battlefront, so all you're really seeing is the battlefield. So you're kind of seeing and the ships fighting in orbit. So I know there's some kind of giant space battle, but Star Wars, you figure that's going to happen.
But that took place 30 years before.
Right. So there's some kind of flashback scene or something.
Yeah.
But so it's cool. So that's cool. But I'm actively trying to avoid. There's all these theories about Luke and why they're not showing him, and I'm trying to avoid all of that.
Right.
Because I don't want to know going in that Leia's Luke's sister. kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to know whatever the twist is going to be, because I expect there will be one. I expect they're gonna try to set up an arc, a trilogy arc again, and so they're gonna try to set something up. I am loving, but here's another reason I think I'm excited. So for example, I am actively already in love with, as much as I love R2-D2, I love BB-8. I have the little toy Sphero that I can drive around on my iPhone in the house. I love those little head pops off. I love Sphero. I just love the imagery. I like him. I like the fact that so like, what I'm saying is I like that there's new stuff. The big mistake I think the prequels made was they didn't have any characters you instantly fell in love with before you even met them.
Right.
And I think there's already some of that happening with, you fell in love with Darth Maul just from the poster with his double-bladed lightsaber, right? And his look. And some of the new villain, the crossbar on the super bad guy, I don't even know his name. I don't want to, do not say his name.
Okay, I won't.
Super bad guy, Vader-like dude with his little crossbar lightsaber. He's a bad guy, obviously. He's kind of already iconic with this cool crossbar lightsaber. You got the one lightsaber that's sort of like a bow staff or something. That looks cool. The chick's wielding that. Don't know her name. Don't tell me her name. Don't want to know her name. I want to meet these people for the first time on Friday, Craig. That's kind of where I am.
I get
right
it,
now.
Russ. I get it. Now, here's an issue, and you might not want to hear it, and I'm going to say it anyway.
Oh, damn.
Okay? Because I've just been, I've been not as successful as you, but I've been trying. I have been watching more previews than you. I don't think... And J.J. Abrams in his interview went into this, and he's one of those people who acknowledges that movies can often show the entire movie or every salient point of a movie's plot line in a preview in 30 seconds or 2 minutes, and then it's all ruined.
Right.
So that's the only thing he said. That's why I haven't shown a lot of stuff, because I want you to go into this movie with some visuals in your head, and that's all you know.
Right.
And so, but at the same time, so it's all exciting, and we did a couple events over the weekend, this weekend right now that included we got some stuff for Toys for Tots and stuff, and of course I'm gravitating towards the Star Wars stuff, and I'm looking at the Star Wars toys, and I'm realizing the Millennium Falcon has changed. There's aspects of the Millennium Falcon that are different from how it appeared in the first 3 movies, and it was a shock to me when I saw that toy, because my first instinct was what, Russ? What do you think my first instinct was when I saw that there were details that were different?
The Millennium Falcon has been modified.
No, my first instinct was, wow, they screwed up the toy.
Oh, right. Yes.
That's not what that looks like.
Yeah, right.
I know that's what. And then it was like a chill swept through.
Well, it's been a generation, so I would think the Millennium Falcon.
I know, it makes perfect sense. That's exactly what happened to me. Well, I went, oh, they messed up. Oh my God, they didn't mess up. Oh my God, it's different. Oh my God, it's been 30 years. Of course it's different.
Right.
And so it was like a series, and then it was like, oh my God, it's existed. The Millennium Falcon has existed for 30 years. It's got 30 years of upgrades, 30 years of new stuff.
Right.
And they've incorporated that into the movie. They've incorporated that into the toy. And it was a moment. I stopped in the store. Like, Karen was over in the girls' toys, and I was over in the Star Wars toys, which of course is between the girls and the boys because it's non-gender specific. And I stopped, and I had this moment of, like, as if I had seen a friend from, a long time ago and been like, had a hard time recognizing them because they aged, and like, oh my God, they aged. Oh my God, I aged. And there was this huge existential moment that I've never experienced in connected to a movie before. And then that, for some reason, immediately spun into this idea that Darth Vader, of course, Darth Vader is iconic. Darth Vader is huge. Darth Vader is in all of the toys, and his head is in the background. And I mean, he's still there. And I realized, wait, oh my God, Darth Vader is not going to be.
Right.
I think his absence is going to be a huge part of the, the movie and the plot line, but he's not there anymore. And of course, the one analytic of the original 6 movies is that it's the Darth Vader story, really.
So it's the Anakin Skywalker tragedy and redemption.
The fall, and then the redemption of Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
And he's not there.
So you need a new plot arc. That's the cool part.
Exactly. And but that's huge. That's a huge that foundation is not going to be there. And
you know what else I found interesting in the merchandise?
What's that?
So I'm seeing a lot of merchandise tagged. They've got the new Force Awakens logo on it.
Yes, yep.
And I'm seeing an awful lot of Yoda tagged with Force Awakens.
Really?
And Yoda is, spoiler, Yoda's dead, people.
Yoda passed away.
On the plus side, he got to die of old age, which is a win, but he's dead.
Jedi.
So, he's not going to be, except maybe as a glowy blue Yoda, in the new Force Awakens.
You think he's going to be a glowy blue Yoda?
Well, if Luke's having some, emotional inner turmoil, he could be talking to glowy Yoda and glowy Ben. I could see that happening.
Yeah.
They have to digitize Alec Guinness somehow, but they'll figure it out.
No, they will. They've already. Did they do that? Did they put in the new guy?
No.
When they digitized Return of the Jedi,
it's Alec Guinness still.
Is it Alec Guinness?
Of course it is.
I know it's Hayden Christensen.
No, but Alec Guinness is old Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay, all right.
He can't be young Obi-Wan Kenobi because he's already been shown as glowy blue old Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right. Okay. Well, then they would have to digitize.
You retain the glowy form of, except it doesn't really work that way because when Anakin comes back,
that's what I'm saying. They digitized it. They went and changed it.
He's old Anakin. They might have changed Anakin to young.
They changed Anakin to Hayden Christensen, and Hayden Christensen has already been confirmed in the next Star Wars.
Glowy blue guy in the next one. Okay.
And he's going to have to be glowy blue guy. So you're right.
See? Glowy blue guys.
Or a flashback, but probably glowy blue guy.
Blue. I'm going with glowy blue guy. Could be a flashback.
No, it'll probably be glowy blue.
By the way, I have to share this. This is completely unrelated to what we're talking about, but it is Star Wars. So so Mythbusters, every once in a while has a Star Wars special. And not too long ago, they did a Star Wars special, and it was on lightsaber duels. And they chose the line, and I didn't even remember this was a line. But there's a line in the third movie where Anakin turns into Darth Vader, and in that final battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin on the lava, they're having the big saber duel there, and there's a scene where Obi-Wan jumps up on a higher piece of terrain, and he yells, "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground." And so Mythbusters did a whole thing on trying to decide if high ground actually positively and negatively influences a sword fight. And they did a bunch of skirmishes. But the funny thing about this, so my daughters watched that episode of Mythbusters. And every time it came back from commercial, it kept showing that scene of Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground," over and over again. So they saw this over the course of 30 minutes, 50 times. So this is now ingrained as their head is one of the most memorable Star Wars quotes ever. So every time we're playing Star Wars Battlefront, and of course you can play Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker, and every time one of them was on a hill, Kit would yell, "It's over, Rose, I have the high ground." It was really hilarious, which has now become an iconic Star Wars quote in my head, only because of that Mythbusters, and I never would have quoted that line before.
That's funny.
So to the point now we're playing War Machine, Woods will now yell, "It's over, Russ, over Dad, I have the high ground." So it's pretty hilarious. So anyway, complete aside, but there you have it. So watch those bad lines because they'll be So anyway, so what else have you noticed besides the changes to the Millennium Falcon and the fact that Vader's dead?
To be honest, as soon as I saw that, I stopped looking at anything.
Right, so that's the problem.
So now
you can't look at anything.
I saw, and I'm not even saying what the changes are. They're not huge changes,
right?
But as soon as I realized that, I had this big epiphany. I had this sort of world shattering moment.
Yeah,
which isn't really world shattering. I realize that, but
it's world shattering.
And then I went, "Oh my god, I can't look at anything." And now I'm not looking at anything, and I'm deleting emails that are like another trailer. Click, nope.
Yeah, I don't do that at all. All my quote unquote friends that keep sharing these trailers with me, you're not doing me any favors. Stop it.
No. And I've made that announcement that I won't be watching any more trailers. Because I don't think my heart can handle it. I think I have to ignore.
I want it to be fresh.
The fact that Star Wars is coming,
but the advantage
because I don't think I'm going to be able to deal with it.
Since the prequels, and to be honest, by the time the third prequel came out, I was less than excited. So I was like, I want to watch it because I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm not overly thrilled. Right. This time I'm excited. It's like when they rebooted Star Trek. I have high optimism because I enjoyed what Abrams did with Star Trek. Yeah. So I feel really good about it. But the opportunity here is to experience Star Wars for the first time again. And so I really don't want to have that spoiled. I really don't want to know anything else about it. I don't have a hunger my hunger is to see it for the first time in a theater as it was intended. Right. Yep. So I'm really avoiding all this contact now, except for I'm enjoying the fact that the world in general is more Star Warsy,
right. Yeah.
And so all the references to, to the early stuff like Yoda and Vader and R2 is all great because, yeah, it's fun to see all that again. But I really, anything Force Awakens related, even T-shirts, even sayings on T-shirts, line, they're obviously prepping them with the merchandise for the lines they think people are going to love. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want any of that spoiled.
Mm-hmm. No, me neither.
So yeah. So you're going on Friday.
I'm going on Friday.
Me too. So by the time this airs, I think Star Wars will already have come out, but it'll be part of the excitement.
Yeah. In fact, because this is so elite, because this is the lost chapter, and so few people on a percentage-wise listen, this is the only place I'm going to tell the truth.
Ooh.
I'm going to play hooky on Friday.
Ooh, look at you.
I'm going to call in sick.
Now, what time are you going on Friday?
11 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Nice. We're going to go for breakfast. Then we're going to go see the movie. Then we're going to have plenty of time to chat about it afterwards.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm seeing it in the evening. I'm going at, I think it's 9 o'clock. It's actually kind of late for my girls. And this is a sad thing, too. I have failed as a geek parent. So my children love fantasy.
Yeah.
They have no love for Star Wars.
You have failed as a parent.
I have. And Nicole is really hurt because Star Wars is Nicole's favorite series of movies. She's read every book. She's a huge Star Wars fan. So the fact that her daughter, I don't know if you've seen that one commercial for the dad where he keeps trying to get his daughter to do Star Wars stuff and she won't. And finally he's in this toy store and he turns the corner and she's holding the lightsaber over her head and he says, "You are my daughter," or "I am your father." But that part has never happened. But I got tickets for them because it's going to be a fun film and I want to come. So we're going tonight. I figured the evening would be fun because it'll be packed. So you want that cheering.
That's something that I wanted to avoid, but at the same time, that's going to be a cool.
I want the cheering and the clapping and assuming that and everybody cheering when the scroll starts and all that stuff. So I want that experience. And I'm hopeful that another thing I'm hoping for is because my girls haven't felt like, here's the thing. This is where Lucas screwed up. Okay. So I'm trying to have my girls watch Return of the Jedi. Okay. They have seen A New Hope several times.
Yep.
They have seen Empire Strikes Back. They enjoyed it, but they want to see the end, sort of. So they want to watch Jedi. We got to the part, and they're watching it. They're engaged. They love the duel at the Sarlacc pit with Luke and his lightsaber and everything flying around. They love that part. But before that, when they're in Jabba's palace, and that stupid extended edition where they have the song go on for like 15 minutes, that stupid band, Kit literally looked at Mom and like, "Really? What are you making me watch?" I mean, literally, like, and you can't argue with it because that is just bad story. There's no reason for that. So it's like, I wish I could have that. I wish they could see the Star Wars I first saw because it's better.
I have it in VHS.
It's better. It's a better movie. I'm sorry, but it is.
It is a better movie.
So I'm hoping. I'm hopeful that this new film, they will go in there begrudgingly, and they will see it begrudgingly. But I'm hopeful it will capture their imagination. Perhaps not as much as the original caught ours, but hopefully enough to get them engaged in the universe. I mean, they know it. They love playing Battlefront. They like the Star Wars Lego games. They're into the Star Wars world. They know all the lines and all the quotes and everything. But they don't. If you gave them the choice to watch the movie or do something else, it would almost certainly be do something else. They just don't. They're not into the movies the way Nicole and I are.
Right. Well, I mean, and I think this is, if anything can do it, this will do it because they're going to be swept up to a certain extent in the hype.
Right.
And they're going to feel that excitement. So I would imagine that.
Fingers crossed. That's my last best hope right here for getting my girls engaged in Star Wars.
It's going to be okay.
So there you have it. There's our Star Wars preview. And of course, you're hearing this after it's live. So hopefully you enjoyed the film. I hope Craig and I enjoyed it.
I hope so. Because if not, I don't know if you'll ever hear from me again.
I don't know what'll happen. That will be very sad.
I might run off into the woods.
It'll be fine. I have faith. I find your lack of faith disturbing, Craig. We're fine.
No, I have faith. That's what's scaring me.
We're good.
Last time I had faith, things did not go so well.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Although we did get a really good lightsaber duel out of it.
That's true. We did. And some really nice music.
Yeah.
The music has never failed.
John Williams has never failed us. That's right.
No.
Never.
And that's an interesting thing, too. Did you know that J.J. Abrams uses the same composer in almost all his movies, and this is going to be the first movie in a very long time he doesn't use that composer?
You cannot do Star Wars without Williams as long as Williams is alive.
And the composer went on TV and was like, "There's no way I would let him use me."
Right, I'm not John Williams.
John Williams needs to be part of this, so that's
right. Until John Williams retires, he is the song of Star Wars, and that is how it should be.
Indeed.
That is how it's intended. Okay. Well, Craig, thanks again. A good chat, and enjoy the rest of your donut there, and I can't wait. So next time we chat, we'll be talking about all the awesome, hopefully.
That was Star Wars.
That was
7.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.